Well, hello. Hello, everyone.
Hey everyone, hope we are having a wonderful Memorial Day.
It is a beautiful day today. It was gorgeous. Still gorgeous.
Yeah, so hopefully we haven't forgotten the real reason of the season, which is to give humble thanks and gratitude for all those wonderful men and women that gave their life for us so that we may have our freedom today. So, really very grateful for them. I know it's about the kickoff of summer and it's about having a delicious burger or hot dog, but we do have to remember why we're able to have that hamburger or that hot dog today.
Well, it is definitely a great occasion and remembering the fallen heroes and those that are standing for our freedoms, right? So,
Exactly. And if you
and
had a
actually,
chance, maybe you went to a ceremony like I did this morning, got to be part of a wreath laying ceremony. I think that's a great way to start the day off. Some people have gone to Memorial Day luncheons. But one person said to me, that, Memorial Day comes once a year, but it's a good idea to give thanks for these freedoms that we have every day. I know people think I'm crazy, but it is a good thing to do because I find that when we give gratitude for what we have, there are more things in our life that can show up that we can be grateful for.
well, this goes to the same discussion we had the last time around Mother's Day, which
Yep.
was we don't just have to celebrate mothers on Mother's Day. This is something that we need to celebrate ongoing and appreciate people.
And Father's Day too can be all.
Listen, that is true. Fathers, mothers, freedom, the people that actually are doing the right thing. And by the way, this is all over the world. I mean, there are people that are making sure that people around the globe are living their lives, and we wouldn't have it today without them.
Absolutely. Absolutely not.
As a matter of fact, I think I was on a cruise ship, and it was around the same time, and we had a celebration, and they had a standing ovation for all militaries and all folks that have defended the freedoms of, of the globe. And so whatever country you were from at the time on the ship, you would have basically gotten a nice little salute and just a thank you and a great gratitude moment, basically.
Yeah, that gratitude moment is something that a lot of people just, they forget about or they don't realize that, we really need to do. So again, my humble thanks to all of the fallen that are both with us, that have hurt and got Purple Heart or something like that, as well as those people that have left us and given their lives. And also, I want to not just say thank you to those that gave their lives or lost their lives during a war, but also for all those who have practiced and lost their life or lost some type part of their body, limb, etc. And that could have been something as just a routine drill, as well as those that we lost in other catastrophes like 9/11.
Listen, I mean, not only them, even their families, the people that actually are
Exactly.
immediately impacted by any of the losses, and they're the ones who are behind. And so again, today is just a good day to remember, and remember all the people that have done good for all of us out here. In the U.S. and outside of the U.S. I mean, pretty much.
Yeah, and I think that's an important thing that we need to be thankful for. Well, you guys know that every week I start a new master topic. I started on Saturday for those of you that don't know on Inspirations for Your Life daily podcast that I do. But I want to encourage all of you guys to listen this week. And the reason is the title is a very interesting title. And you're probably saying to me, John, what's the title? And I'm going to tell you in a second. But the reason I want to tell you the title is pretty interesting. Um, it's because what I find is we need to shock people sometimes. And so this title is to put your whole face in it. Now, you might say, John, what the heck is that about? Well, the reason I say that is it comes from the Nike's very powerful words of "just do it." So it's kind of my little hyperbole on that. And I want to encourage everyone to listen every single night or day, believemeachieve.com, because on Friday, I'm going to do something a little bit crazy, but I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to do until you watch the show on Friday, but it's going to be something pretty epic.
Shall I have a drum roll here going?
Yeah, so sometime on Friday, you're going to see what my claim is when I say put your whole face into it, and you're going to be pretty surprised. So I would tell you, definitely check that out. But remember, Nike said just do it, and that's what you need to do, folks. Just do it. If people are holding you back, just do it. Don't worry what they think. Just do it. And the only time I tell you not to just do it is if you're just doing it, you're going to harm someone. But anything else, you should just do it, because if you wait, you're going to procrastinate. And if you procrastinate, there's probably a high 90% probability that you're not going to ever do it.
Well, John. So we're not gonna, I guess, spoil the
Nope,
discussion.
not going to spoil anything. Nope, I'll keep leading into it every day and telling people, hey, you wonder what I'm going to do? Well, keep wondering, because I'm not telling you.
Well, I could tell you one thing. I mean, it is important that when you want to do something, to your point, you just got to do it. Don't wait. Don't worry. Don't wait for people's approval. And I'll leave it at that, because you're going to cover all this on Friday.
Yeah, and I think when they hear or see what's going to happen on Friday, in one of my clips, actually, the thing I will tell you is that it's not actually going to happen on the show. It's actually going to take place in one of my videos called John C. Morley, Serial Entrepreneur Super Motivational Friday. So it's actually going to take place in the video that gets released on Friday. So it will not take place in the show. But by the time I give Friday's show, people will already be able to see what I had done in the morning, because my video is released at 8 a.m. in the morning.
Well, so let's talk about all your different channels and different work, and where people actually see you live. This way, these people know where to track you.
Absolutely. So you guys can learn more about me by visiting a link, and that link is Believe, BELIEVE, me, ACHIEVE.com. But if you are watching us, you can just scan the QR code on my hat, and that'll get you over to BelieveMeAchieve.com.
People have to actually get with that QR business. I mean, that's my business card as well. No more old school business cards, just a QR, boom, they scan it, and it's your link tree and wherever.
Exactly. I started doing this back around the pandemic time, and I made a business card that has all my businesses on it. And what I do, because it keeps evolving. We're like, what's that? I'm like, well, that's like I call it my all card.
Yeah.
A business card. I said, well, I do, but I'm going to give you my all card. They're like, what's that? I'm like, it just links to everything about me, my profile and everything. Like, oh, that's interesting.
Well, if people don't know how to do it, you just create a link tree, and then that's all your socials, and you can basically have your QR from there. Save it, and then you can take a snapshot at it. You can put it as a thumbnail, whatever you want it, on your business card with a picture, and that's it. Now, if you don't want to do that, and let's say you're just a big Instagram, Instagram has one, you can get that QR. If you're into WhatsApp, you just do the WhatsApp one. But you have different options. But whatever you want people to connect with you, that's the place to be. It beats phone numbers, because you can have a contact sheet there. You can have a lot of different things in there.
Absolutely. You can create a QR code that will dial somebody's phone number. You can have a QR code that goes to a website, which is what we mostly do. But really, you can do anything you want.
Life is a lot simpler. Remember, just do it, right?
yeah, just do it. And I think some people, I see a lot of people having these digital cards, and although I'm not against them, I like the idea of somebody having something tangible so they can scan it, their prerogative, because if somebody's not up enough and you try to send them an electronic business card, they're going to be like, what was that? Oh, you missed it. You want me to send it again? Oh, don't bother.
Well, listen, digital cards are just as good, but again,
they're good. But the problem with the digital card is if you miss it, you're done. You can't get it again that easily. Can't
Yeah.
get it till you're with that person again.
Yeah.
So this kind of a card, you can obviously go to the QR code. You can go to believemeachieve.com. You can go up with your own domain name. We registered our own domain name and linked it, and that's not hard to do. So that's a great way to have a business card. Is you have that, you have that domain name, and people are like, "Oh, that's really cool. We got to do that." Yeah, you got to do that. And I think the whole idea of just being different and knowing that things change and that they evolve, I think that's really a big, big difference.
Well, John, we've covered Chat GPT the other day, and AI is the new thing. I mean, you're gonna have to get with the program and get with the times if you really want the action, right? So QR code, AI, whatever it is that is tech, if you're not in it, you're gonna be behind schedule, and it's gonna be rough. And so you got to keep going with your socials, with everything. And again, you got to use it smartly. I would say, just don't do it because I mean, just do it. That's funny. Just don't do it for the wrong reason. Do it for the right reason, as you said,
Yeah,
John.
you got to make sure that you have a purpose and that it's easily to be found, because if you don't, you're just going to get lost on page like 9,000,003, and then people are like, "What's that?" Oh, I'll just more garbage. I think we have to be understanding that there's a lot of information in this world. And so what we want to do, ladies and gentlemen, is break um, in free of the noise. And that'll be one of my shows coming up in a few weeks, how to break through the noise. Because there's so much noise in our world. And I don't mean noise like just things you hear. I mean distractions. That's what noise is. So if you understand that you have to be different, you have to break through that noise. That's the only way that you're going to stand out in the crowd. Some new things that we are working on right now. We're not our 100 million yet for our subscribers. We're not close to that yet, but we are. One of our channels is almost close to 100. And I was told that once you hit your first 100, the second 100 is very easy. And so as the next 300, 400, 500, pretty soon you'll be up to, I don't know, 1,000 and then 100,000. You don't get anything till you're at 100,000. You get a play button. Your first play button, I think, is at 100,000. So that's one of our goals. We would love to have a video featuring me holding the play button for YouTube with so many views. But they say it takes about 200 to 300 videos to get there. And, that's an interesting thing. It's not, I think, just the videos. I think what Google wants to see is that it's consistency. But I think it's also about the fact that, you're going to have that one video that just hits it, hopefully by the time you've hit 200 or 300. And I think it can be very interesting. And in the same breath, the fact that you can just, take something and dominate. I think the problem with a lot of things that happen on, let's say on YouTube, is that people start out being a creator, right? And then they don't make it anywhere. And they're like, oh, I'm just going to give up. And that's the problem, ladies and gentlemen. You can't give up. You have to keep doing it. You have to keep going for your subscribers. I had one guy the other day. He says, you're getting gypped. I said, well, thank you so much. He says, yeah. He says, you should sue YouTube. I said, well, I don't think that's really going to go anywhere. He says, you should be getting millions of views. I'm like, thank you. I appreciate that.
so John, let me just first of all, I couldn't help it. You had a hat. I had to do my thing. So I had to join you, man.
Okay, no problem. I say, yep.
Well, so let's talk about that. Yes, you're right. The YouTube 100,000 is that silver plate or the play button, and then at a million you get the gold. But like as you said, this thing works for everything, whether it's YouTube, Instagram, or live business. No matter what, you never give up. I mean, that's the bottom line. Now, if you want to go viral, I mean, that's you got to do something dumb sometimes, and that's usually a quicker way to get there. But
and that's what I'm not going to tell you, but that's what Friday is going to be about. It's a just do it, but it's a dumb thing if you think about it from just the cursory perspective. But that's one of the things we're really looking at doing this year, and as we move into the end of the year, is trying to do things that are, I don't want to say trying, I want to say just doing things. Because we're trying to do things, we wouldn't be doing them, would we? Doing things that are going to catch people off guard. Like, what did they just do? And I will share one little secret that happened. It's not related to what we talked about, but there's a science video coming out. And you guys know I'm an engineer, and I also do STEM, science, technology, engineering, math. And so, I have this quality being an engineer. I always want everything to be just perfect, right? And so we're shooting a video with my team. And in the middle of the video, we started getting smoke.
Oh,
So I was like, I think we need to cut and redo the take. They're like, no, let's just roll with it. Really? I said, something's smoking. Yeah, just go with it. And so I'm like, what the heck's smoking? So I'm looking to my right. And I'm like, oh, the batteries. All right, everyone. So this is an example of what you should not do. Now, we didn't do this intentionally, but the wires and the plus and the negative actually touched and they fused. And you can see that it's smoking. I'm having a job separating these because these are hot as you know what. And then I said a few little forwards, which we obviously bleeped out. I was like, this is an example of something you should not do. You should not touch the positive and the negative on leads on a battery.
well, you get sparks. Did you?
No, you get smoke.
All right. Well, I mean, it's not. I mean, was there any fire actually that ignited?
You won't get fire from a AA battery.
All right. So that's good to know. Well,
but it was the wires are very hot. I did solve the situation. People are like, oh, you want to grab the fire? I'm like, no, you don't need to grab the fire extinguisher. It's just this is what happens. It's a reaction. And everybody was like, oh my gosh, are we gonna be okay? I'm like, yeah, it's just a little battery. Like half my team was like running for the hills. They're like, are we gonna be all right? I'm like, yeah, the place is not gonna burn down. You're gonna be fine.
You're here.
But you never saw so many people like want to leave for I don't know where just because they saw a little smoke.
Well, maybe that they thought that thing's gonna explode or something. I mean, it's gonna be a poof like a little firecracker.
Nah, that typically doesn't happen. Because like I said, it's causing the smoke. I mean, for something to you get some smoke and then it kind of happens. But basically, before anything would happen, so the wires were basically getting to a point where they were basically they were smoking. Now, there was no fire, but what was happening is the smoke was causing the wires, the reaction to basically fuse together. So what was happening is the coating of the wire from the first was just starting to coat all the way together right through that whole wire. And about midway through, I mean, it was still mostly through. I had to first thing I did was I took the batteries out. That was the first thing. So we could stop the reaction. And then it was a lot easier to take them apart because it was getting cool.
As long as nobody got injured, right?
No, nobody got injured. But, I think a lot of times when we do videos, and I've always been a perfectionist, my team's like, John, just let it go. If something happens, just roll with it. Just go with it. And our new thing I want to tell you guys about is, you probably heard, we have a party. I don't care if it's a birthday party, bar mitzvah, christening, some achievement party, right? You probably heard about inviting a clown, right? Or maybe inviting a musician, a musician, or a caricaturist, right? Those are the old things of doing. So we created a video this week, which will be coming out probably in a week or so, basically talking about the fact that, hey, why not invite John, the science guy, to your next party? Because I love to educate, entertain, inspire, and I love to party.
Well, we did talk about that as far as events, and John going around and even working with the senior community and bringing something different. To your point, there's so many things that have been traditional, but who says that we cannot have some fun, learning while we're in a party? I mean, it has to be fun because people they really want to have some cool things and not maybe learn. But if it's done in a way that is, interesting and I guess interactive, they'll have fun with it.
Yeah, that's the whole point. And I think if people can understand that, um, I think it could be a pretty amazing thing. And so being different, I think a lot of times we always want to fit in, right? We're taught by our parents and by community, you need to fit in, you need to not stand out. But the
Oh,
problem with that
sure.
is not standing out is going to just make you like everyone else. And we're not trying to become, a boy or girl that's in Catholic school or in private school that you're just trying to look the same. That's why everybody wears the same uniforms. I remember going to private high school, and that was the greatest relief was knowing that we all could wear different clothes. You had to follow a dress code, which is you had to dress in a manner that would basically state that you weren't, out on a rock concert or something like that. But you could basically wear pretty much what you wanted. No jeans, no sneakers, but you had a lot of ways to express your individuality. In grammar school, you always had to wear the dark blue navy pants, the light blue shirt, and the plaid blue purple something tie. And then when you got up to the sixth, seventh grade, then you started wearing a non-clip-on tie and actually making the tie every day.
Well, so let's talk about that, John. Right. So this whole thing about not being the same like everybody else, that's a fact. You are unique. Everybody that's watching right now, today, tomorrow, in the next year, everybody has to have their own signature. You cannot possibly be exactly like everybody else. And so, yes, you do want to be different. You do want to have your own highlights. You do want to be yourself, your own flavor. And that's what makes us a little bit of a unique piece, right? If we are just a clone to the other, what's the point? And that I think we are being taught that concept that we should be conform to whatever else is going around us and however everybody else is doing. Who said that? I mean, that's to me. I never adhere to that. I will never do. I'm always like on a tangent. I'm always doing my own thing, and you know what? It serves me well in my life, and it served me well, thus far. And that's always been my recommendation. Be your own you. Do your own thing. I mean, dress your own way, talk your own way. I don't know. I mean, of course, respectfully doing the right thing, of course, for everything else. Um, do your thing. I mean, search, do whatever, create, innovate. Don't be like everybody else. And by the way, that's for everyone, which means that if we all do this, we all can be all creative and all contributors to this society and do something, about it, as opposed to just like, okay, keeping out the Joneses. They do X, I do X. They do Y, I do
Yeah,
Y.
well,
They
the Joneses
just
are
have
always
that.
doing things. So the Joneses are always complaining. They're always trying to do. You're always trying to join the bandwagon, and the Joneses are always trying to keep up with. I think the Joneses always keep up with the Michaels. But anyway, it's like the whole reason for wanting to keep up with the Joneses so that everybody sees me. But why try to keep up and compete? Why not just be you? Be who you are. And people may try to keep up with you. That's fine. You don't care. But you don't need to keep up with people. You're better than that.
Well, John, that's what you just said, right?
Yep.
You don't have to worry if they want to do it. They want to follow your suit. That's fine, but you don't have to. You don't owe anybody money, and that's the bottom line. It's your flavor, and that's it. I mean, we like different flavors, right? We like different things, and so you be you. And you're right. There's no
And
reason
then
to.
that's why I think people like all different kinds of jelly beans. Like I don't like the black jelly bean, but there's all kinds of different jelly beans. You could have whatever jelly bean you want.
Well, dude, I that's licorice, baby. That's my thing.
Oh, you like the black one? Okay.
But you see, this is a good example. You got your flavor, I got my flavor, right? So it's all sweet. Look, listen, you have your own style, show, whatever. I have my own, and we also can match together in one unique double impact role and make it happen. And that's the beauty, man.
I think that's an important thing is that we sometimes don't get the fact that we have the ability to be unique, but we're afraid to express it for the main reason that we don't think we're good enough, or we don't think people will pay attention to us. And I'm here to tell you that be you for you, not for anybody else. Enjoy your journey. If you enjoy your journey and forget about the outcome will take care of itself.
Well, John, that's exactly the point. I think everybody is worried about how everybody else is looking at me. Am I fitting the profile that everybody wants, right? We do that at jobs. We do that at in the street. We do that in every single almost lifestyle that we have in our in today society. We do that. We try to keep up with the system, like exactly how it is. So it's almost like this is the protocol. You got to follow exactly this. But you're right. It's not. It's not. It's not. It's not about people. It's about you. You have your own little flavor. You make it happen. Yeah, it's I see this even our teenagers, right? My kids. If you look at them at school, they all look identical. The way they dress, the way they talk, the way they speak, the way they
Yep.
behave, the way they move. And I'm like, I always question, like, why do you have to be exactly like that? As a matter of fact, to me, I would be exactly the opposite of the rest of them. You dress this way, I'm gonna dress this way. That's how I want to be identified and at least be remembered. By the way, how can you be remembered or different or even noticed if that's what you want? If you're going to be exactly like everything else, right? You want to be like, a flower, whatever. I mean, the expression here, maybe someone's going to crack up right now. But the bottom line, whatever you want to be, highlight yourself. So, I mean, we highlight things, right? In a reading book, whatever, so we can get those, words, whatever, paragraphs separate. The idea
Yep.
is
Yep.
the
Yep.
same
Yep.
thing with
Yep.
you. John has that hat. I got my own little signature. I got Hurricane Age for a reason. We all have a little. This is just a couple of dumb example if you want to look at it that way. But I can give you thousands of things that I've done differently. And I really don't care what people actually think because as long as I'm not crossing anybody's or offending anybody or crossing any type of taboo stuff, religious or otherwise, or
Yep.
law,
Yep. Exactly.
I'm doing good. This okay. It's just about
You
me.
have the right to do whatever you want to do as long as you don't offend, harm, hurt, or despair another person. That's what I always say. But you got to be creative, and you could take something somebody else does and change it up a little bit. Don't copy what somebody else's does because the problem with that is they're like, well, who came up with it? Oh, well, I got that from such and such. And I know whenever I take an idea, whether it's on the show, and I'm like, hey, I said, I like to give credit to Neville Goddard, or I'd like to give credit to Mike Hallen for this amazing idea that I want to incorporate into something I'm talking about today. And I think that's the name of the game, is admitting and sharing that we all get information from everybody.
Well, listen, I mean, we are born with no information. We learn everything from everybody else and we build from there, right? I mean, that's just how it is, right? Now, we might have some sort of a stash of data that is there in our brain somewhere until we kind of evolve enough to actually have some basic stuff, which is like your innate things. But at the end of the day, you still learn. That's why we go to school. That's what we live in life, and we learn from everything around us, the environment, and we pick up our own flavor, our own dynamics, our own way of doing things, and each person becomes a unique person's character, right? You're your character, I'm my character. And we, again, even in talking about characters, right? When you look at actors, every actor that you watch and love out there, or performer, whether it's sports or stuff, I mean, you got hundreds of basketball players, right? But they all play different. They all have their own moves, their own, they basically do the same concept, but they have their own signature, whatever that is. If you watch the world of soccer, you watch football, you watch baseball, you watch tennis, they all use the same basic elements, but they have different styles of doing it. And right, they have their own little strike, they have their own little move, their own jump, whatever the case may
You're
be.
right. You're 100% right. And I think when we start to realize that other people are seeing what we do or interesting with something, that's pretty interesting. I'll give you guys an example. So many of you guys know I have lots of content, but I started a blog. Oh gosh, probably about probably around, I think it was around January, sometime a little before January. And for those of you who don't know, I'm also a member of the International Press Association. So I had this idea to start a blog because I want to write a book. And I said, I need to get more comfortable with writing. And I love to write now, but I needed to write a larger quantity of words every week. So I write about 2 articles every week, and they're between 600 to 1,500 words every week. I just launched one the other day, which was about why do so many people want to work from home. I have another one that's coming out about understanding mental health awareness month, and the fact that this month, this is very interesting this year. They've done it since 1949. They are focusing on the concept of how do our surroundings affect our well-being. And I wrote a whole paper on that. But the point I want to share with you is not the topics, is I went from 0 subscribers, okay, to a couple, to now close to 640 subscribers in just a few months, and I didn't invest one penny in that. So that tells me that people enjoy good content.
Well, not everyone does. I guess everybody's got their own content flavor. We're talking about that, right? So some people like this show, some people like a different type of show, and so on and so forth. Just like, again, you got thousands of channels to select from, whether it's on YouTube or cable,
Which
whatever.
is why I don't just produce print, I produce videos too. But there are a lot of people. I mean, when you tell someone you've grown to like 640 some subscribers, people are like, how'd you do that? I'm like, I just deliver content that shows value. And I put that in a lot of things, whether that's print, whether that's social media, whether that's videos. But what was very interesting is I wrote an article a few weeks ago about understanding the evolution of the pipe organ. Got a lot of views. And something interesting about the pipe organ is, did you know there are stops on a pipe organ that they actually have them block off in some old churches because they will actually shatter the hundreds and hundreds of year old what do they call it, the stained glass.
I would know. I would know. I would have a clue about that. So you
I
can
thought that was amazing. Now, not in the new churches, now just the old churches that happens.
You know, John is very creative, guys. He's got hundreds of things going on. I mean, I'm crazy. He's just as crazy, if not more. Sorry about that, John. But
okay.
That's what makes sense.
I love being crazy. I consider that to be a compliment.
Well, it was meant that way, dude. This is not being crazy. This is like, really being, very innovative and different.
I just do it.
If it wasn't trademark, we're all gonna have that same,
yeah. So I can't use that as a branding, right? But I can talk about it and say that I do that and use other phraseology to mean that. I just can't put that on any of my own branding. But talking about just do it and talking about the mindset behind that is very interesting because, people always want the latest thing. They want the latest bread or whatever you have out there, the latest recipe. And I think through all the years, there's so many different things that evolve. But one of the biggest challenges is people get wrapped up in their own stuff. Like, well, it's not great. And I was reading a poster. I was doing work in a doctor's office Saturday and Sunday. And the poster said, you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great.
Now, that's some deep stuff, dude. Well, by the way, that is exactly the concept. One of the things that differentiates success and a level of success is the ability to get started versus the ability to wait until all the circumstances and all the pieces are together. This is not that you're going to put a cake and you have an ingredient and recipe list and you're just going to get 1, 2, 3 and you're going to mix them. Many of these things will come up as you are building, and you'll do it. And most of the people that have done well in their lives will tell you they step and then they step again and they step again and so on and so forth. And before you know it, they have a concept. They have something. They test the first thing, the second thing, the third thing, hundreds of things maybe before they get. I mean, again, Jordan, how many shots he missed, right, to get good at what he does? And just an example, we hear that all the time. And there's so many other examples. But the idea is, I always say the same thing: do not wait. If you have an idea, take it on the road and fix it as you go. Work with it. Roll with the punches. and you'll discover a few things, tweak here, tweak there. Before you know it, you have a concept that is going to be unique and different. Now, here's the difference. You're going to lose 100% of everything if you don't start. However, you start, you have some percentage of where you need to be already. So that's how you got to look at it. And that's actually not difficult to do, but it's somehow not accepted as a concept and people are afraid. I think that's the key is the fear. It's like, I don't know the challenges. And, I mean, the example you said, right? You started the blog. Okay. One subscriber, few subscribers, 600 plus in a year from now, again, maybe a couple of thousand and so on and so forth. But you cannot possibly have any if you don't start, right? And your content,
You're
yes,
you're 100% right. Yes, you're 100% right.
yeah, you got to start somewhere. It doesn't matter. When you start a YouTube channel, you're gonna have zero people following you, subscribers, right? Instagram, you're gonna have zero. Whatever you do, you're gonna start from the ground up, right? And so you open a restaurant, it's still blank. You got chairs, tables, the whole nine. You have a whole staff, food, but you still got to open a door, whatever. But if you don't set all that stuff up, nobody's gonna come to the door in the first place, right? It doesn't matter what
Right.
you do. You got to start and build an infrastructure, build the foundation, and then start working your way into it. And that's it. The rest is history. And by the way, that's the only way to succeed. And if you don't do it, I mean, that's fine. It's up to you. We're only given experiences here that we have actually, things that we do ourselves. This is how I do it. This is how John does it. John is like, eggs in all over the different baskets, not one. And that's the thing about it. You sometimes you don't just do one thing. Many people ask me the question, like, how do you do it? Like, you have too many things going on. Where's the time? Where's this? I treat everything as projects.
That's what I do too. Same
That's
thing.
literally how it is. Like I work, we could be working on 10 projects at the same time at the
Yep.
office. Here in my business is the same thing. This is a project, this is a project. We started multiple channels. Each channel is a project. It's a theme, and we work it, we build it slowly until it gets to that nice little momentum. Same concept here, guys. And if you're watching or listening today or next year or whatever you get to the show, just basic rules. Start. Don't worry about the end game. Have a vision of what should look like, but that vision is going to probably transfer and change and shift and get a little different as you progress. And believe me, what you'll start seeing is like you'll get open to it, and you'll start seeing more and more.
Yeah,
and more.
you start to your higher intelligence will start to kick in. Another interesting thing I want to share with you guys today is if you're having trouble doing something, think about the challenge or the let's say the project from how it will help others. Because a lot of, this is what I want to do for me. Well, I'm glad you want to do that for you, but how will it help others? That's the magic sauce I would tell you to use. How will what I'm doing help affect others, and how will it make the world a better place?
You're talking about value. You need to
Yes.
create value in whatever it is that you do. So a good example between John and I right now, what you're seeing, and we're just going to relate to ourselves here. Now, we met through the shows, John and I,
Yep.
right? And that's how it is. We connected, we met, and the rest of it, we decided to go into this particular, venture together, and it's going well. It's almost
Yep.
a year, if I'm not mistaken, and we're having fun.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
we chose this format for a reason. I mean, we all have our own content and all different segmented and different theme shows and whatever. You watch him, you're gonna have his own flavors and different topics. Sometimes we don't even think that we cross over, topics and themes, but that doesn't matter. The more the merrier.
We all do it in a different way. You may cover motivation, I cover motivation. We all do it in our own style,
That's
and
right.
that attracts different listeners.
But you said the key thing is what is it for the world, and that's
Yes.
exactly what we do. The value. So an example, STEM. The block things that you do in John. It's about educating stuff. The mission for the EMBC network is educate, enlighten, inspire, and motivate. My motto is time to evolve, enrich your mind, and soar beyond limits. That's the concept. That's the vision. That's the mission. And the idea is that we bring in something different to the audiences. Maybe, it's not everybody's flavor, and that's okay. We're not a Bentley per se per car, but for us, maybe it is. That's how we see ourselves. It doesn't matter what we see ourselves at, but the idea is that we have a unique signature, and we
Hmm.
have our own following, we have our own flavors, and people that actually appreciate what we give, and they will appreciate more and more. And by the way, everybody that started 30 years ago, 100 years ago, 50 years ago, 20 years ago, a year ago, whatever, they started again from that point zero and then built from there. And then eventually they got known well enough, and then the people found the value of what it is. But if you don't create the value to start with, there's nothing. If it's fluff, fluff is going to dissipate, guys. Value is something that stays. When we give a show, there's always nuggets here that someone is going to use in real practical ways and apply them, and therefore be able to benefit from them. So that's exactly what it is. Value you benefit from. And so we're not just, I mean, there's entertainment everywhere. And so there's entertainment that just to get you nice and numb and just relax. And that's great. That's got a purpose. There's entertainment to educate you. This is one of them, or at least some of the education format here. Now, maybe this is not academic, but we do get, some real guests that actually give the real stuff on their side. We're the hosts, we're the entertainers, maybe we're like, the show moderators, right? Think about it this way: maybe we're not the experts in the content, although we have our own expertise and we talk about it every now and then, But we can't talk about everything at all times. We need other people's input and other people's, creative minds and different content that they can offer, and that's why we have different flavors, different shows, different themes, different discussions, different topics. But the bottom line is, how is it going to be valuable to you? The idea is we bring you information that is applicable, that is real, that will actually maybe cut a distance for you. If you need to figure it out, maybe you don't have to anymore. You can have a little bit of a shortcut. We will share with you. The example, for example, we did a couple of weeks back, we did the Chat GPT. Everybody can do ChatGPT, but many people are either not sure what. We purposely ask the questions to show how ChatGPT works and what it is, and is it risky, is it not risky. So implicitly, it showed you guys that it's not a threat to date. Maybe in the future, we don't know, but right now. So the idea is AI worth it? It is worth it. Is it going to be part of society? It is already. Would you be able to live without it? Probably not for a long time, unless you're actually in the woods. So if you use technology, it's going to be part of it, right? So again, these are just example, guys. But the bottom line is value. You want to give something that people actually can use, and so whatever you're doing out there, bring the value to people. Try to think like, how do I benefit from it? But more importantly, how others, going to benefit from what I do. And so, and by the way, that's the business concept, right? If you produce a good product, you're going to get more business and so on and so forth, and you can do more with that. And so that's the actual cycle. These are concepts that are not new. We sometimes just highlight for you guys the stuff that you probably already know. Sometimes remembering stuff or just a reminder helps.
Hmm.
I mumbled a
Yeah,
little
I,
bit.
I think hearing and seeing things over and over again is definitely, very vital for people, because we all know, the bell curve of learning, that a lot of people hearing things the first time will not remember everything that is said. They'll actually forget a lot of it. So a bell curve of learning is, one thing we've learned, beside other different memory devices, is repetition is the mother of learning. One of them. There's many of them, but that is one way, is to hear things lots of times. You might miss a concept when you hear it the first time. You hear it again, it's like, oh, is that what they were talking about? Another thing I like to do when I'm listening to a topic is I might take a pad out and I might just jot some quick notes down as I'm listening to it a few times. So this way I can kind of interact with the topic, make it my own.
It's funny, John. This true story. Like we do. Well, we do like maybe like 7 shows a week. I mean, this is just my shows, and you know they play on the radio, on the podcast, and in addition to all the other shows, right? But so
Hmm.
here's what I do. In During the show, I am interactive with the show, guests and things like that. This is more a different show right now. But the ones that where I ask questions and we're like really, focused on discussion, I don't sometimes remember everything that was happening at the show because I'm really taking the show one step at a time. But guess what, guys? I really go back and listen to my radio as I drive and so on and so forth. So I listen to those shows myself so I can absorb the information that was given to the public. Because, and believe it or not, every time I listen to a show, the second time, the third time, I pick up more and more and more. And I'm like, it's interesting stuff because while I'm listening, I'm focused on the next question because the way I run my shows is that I don't prepare the questions. The discussion takes the questions and brings up, more of it. I dig in based on where we're talking. And by the way, that's exactly, my style. Now, you can have your own, you can have a list of questions and you ask, believe it or not, as just an example, many people that I interview, they don't like that direct question and answer. One question is like, basically straightforward. What is this? This XYZ, boom, answer. It kills the vibe of a show. It becomes very boring. It's not an entertaining and more of a discussion. I like a discussion show, and that's just my signature, if you want to call it my formula, right? But for me personally, I absorb a lot of that information later on. It's not that same day. I mean, I pick some, immediately, but there's so much stuff that I learned later on as I listen to the show once and twice and three times. And again, that's just me. It's like reading a book.
But that's I think that's a great thing because we're hearing it at one level of our brain, and then it's not really sinking in until we hear it again or until we decide to, like, I write notes on or something. We interact with the information, and then it becomes ours. It's like we don't get access to it fully until we choose to interact and incorporate it into our lives. For example, there's a topic I've been working on for a long time. It's called ARPC, which I'll be teaching in a few weeks. Exception, rejection, connection, projection. Now, that may seem very simple, but there's a lot of components in that. And what I work on is trying to make that easy for my listeners to understand and viewers, because if they just heard that, they're like, what the heck is that? And its premise is the fact that what you actually believe yourself to be, okay, whether it's a rejection or an acceptance, regardless, you project that out into the world and it gets mirrored back to you.
And that is an interesting piece right there. It's again, information is plenty out there. I mean, there's it's all over the place, and we are probably supercomputers, if not the best, existing computer that you can have. Yet you got to get all the data in, and it's got to process, and it doesn't pick up. Right, you can read stuff, you can memorize stuff, but it got to sink in. It's like you do. This happens to me all the time. Like I start a platform, like learning the platform. At first, it looks like literally like the Matrix. All kind of like coding stuff. In about a month or two, that stuff looks to me like so clear, it's not even funny. So the more I practice with something, the more I do it, the more I play with it, the more I get to find how to use it and understand how it plays, how it works. It becomes very easy. But like if you give it to me at the first time, I probably can maneuver some of it, but I'm not going to be able to do it. For example, I put my own website together. I work with it, but guess what? Between the minute I started doing it to now, I had to learn every single trick on how to maneuver the thing. Now I can do it. So it's exactly for everything else, guys. If you're going to do something, the first time you're going to listen to it, it's going to give you a percentage and you're going to absorb it. Then you're going to take some more and some more and some more. And before you know it, think about it this way. These guys that are PhDs, right, that actually teach, they're PhDs because they actually do a lot of work in their PhD program, a lot of research, a lot of
Yep.
papers, a lot of stuff. So as they research, as they build all that stuff, they're learning, they're absorbing, they're also teaching at the same time. That's another thing. One of the best ways to actually learn and be able to understand stuff and do more and really understand the dynamics is by teaching and practicing and training. That's another formula. I mean, I do a lot of training, and in the trainings, I get to practice a lot of stuff myself, and it gives you that opportunity. So again, if you're out there, no matter what you're doing, these concepts we're talking about, you can apply them in a lot of different areas in different ways. It's just that it's not gibberish. We're not just giving you something like, oh my God, these are guys like bumbling stuff. This stuff that's working. John and I, we've been doing this for many, many years in our own ways, and it's again served us well. Maybe it's not going to serve you if you're not believing. That's the other thing. Believe and achieve. If you don't believe in anything, nothing's going to happen, right? You got to believe in something, in order for you to actually get into it and start working with it. But know this, we're sharing with you things that are of value, that work, that we've tested. It's like they're being practiced, they're being actually utilized, they're being actually fruitful, and that's all there is. And that's it. I mean, it's free information. That's the bottom. You're watching, you're listening right now. It's not costing you anything. Maybe some time, but and again, you can always switch off if you don't like it, right? But that's the thing, right? You pick up one thing, maybe even when you try to criticize something, you actually learning something to criticize. See, that's another thing. I mean, we have psychology, shows that we have recurring, right? And the stuff I learned from those shows, it's amazing. I laugh about this. I always say this. If you ever hear my shows, sometimes you're gonna hear this phrase. I'm the first customer of my own shows. I'm the first person that learns from them. And so at best, I am absorbing that information, and hopefully I am able to give that information back. And that's the other thing. Knowledge is not for me only. I mean, eventually we disappear from this life, because life is going to flee and we're going to be gone. But this information is going to remain. Some of this stuff today may sound like no value. Maybe it has value. We know that it has value, but
Hmm.
value is not what we place in it; is what you place in it as the audience. And that's the other thing. Like, for example, we're alive right now. We have a few people watching, but if we were just literally just showing some fun stuff in the street, probably we'll have more viewers. And again, that's the thing. That's okay. It doesn't bother me, because maybe it's not for everyone. For the ones that want to watch and listen. And so that's the other thing. It's the concept behind it. It's we believe in our mission, and we're going to continue our mission, and we're going to do what we have to do to make sure that eventually there is something of legacy that people can learn from and actually benefit from. And that's going back to the discussion, or to the point that you made, John, which is about creating value for people.
Exactly. And I think people, for whatever reason, they gravitate toward. I'm going to say this is an interesting thing, and I laugh about this, but it's really. We're actually going to do a video on this in the future. No one gets on your plane or your train. You've heard me say this before. When it's at the station or it's on the ground, people will risk their lives to get on your plane or your train after it's leaving the station at a million miles per hour.
Yeah, well, you don't want it to be too late. But here's the good news. See, that again, looking at positive, right? With what we do, we're not leaving even if we did leave the train station, you have some leftovers behind. You have access to the information all along, so you can.
Well, I'm not talking about us. I'm talking about the people. So where I'm talking about here is, so a lot of times, whether it be my viewers, etc., or people that want to support, you get those people that I call them on the fence. Like they're there because they just want to flip around and waste some time, but they haven't made the active decision to apply it to their life. See,
Mm,
people think that just hearing something is just going to go in their head. I have news for you, folks. It's not. So if you don't make a conscious effort right now to want to commit that information, you're not going to own that information. It's going to go in one ear and out another ear. And so the reason I say this to you is because people don't jump on whatever project, whatever thing you're doing. I don't care what it is, an organization, a concept, anything. They don't jump on with a full heart until you're really taking off. And my response to that is, where were you a couple years ago? Oh, yeah, you hadn't got your ticket, had you? You just had what, a visitor's pass?
no, they were just watching from a distance to see if it's
Yeah,
worth.
well, no, I think they had the 1 day trial or something, or they had the visitor's pass because they didn't want to pay for the full ticket.
Yeah, it's funny. You're touching on something that we just had with Dr. Heim on
Oh
Friday,
wow,
which is the idea that your own folks, right? Some of the people that are potentially close to you, or people that maybe are doubting your abilities or doubting the stuff that you're um, engaging with, right? They almost kind of like sit in the back to see like what's up, where you headed, and only when you finally made it, then they become closer to the action. And that's the part. And talk to celebrities, talk to people that have gone places and made it in the corporate world or whatever in any world type, right? You're gonna find that they have not been supported by the people initially, at least the people that they thought would be there for them. And that's the thing. Like it takes sometimes a whole different generation of folks to actually carry you to the next stage, while the people that you expected the most from may not be there. Because the other thing is, I do believe that the people that know you, and again, we're talking in general public, but the people that you expect, the support from or the help from, or to be there for you and support and give you the tap on the shoulder, whatever. Yeah, you can do this and push you forward. They just watch. Sometimes you even think that they're watching you because they think that you're not going to make it or you're going to fail. And this is where, again, the just do it concept comes on. Don't worry about that. Make it happen. And then your results will speak louder, and the rest is history. And you're right. At that time, the plane is in the air. Too late. You didn't make it. It's like that. In the joke in the cruise world, there's a joke, and the most expensive picture is you sitting at the actual on the port watching the ship leaving, and just taking a picture of the ship gone because you missed it, right? So same concept here, guys. It's the idea of, if you see something, join it, be part of it, learn from it, and that's it. And by the way, we're not telling you guys to follow us and do our stuff here, but we're talking in general terms, that in business, in career path, in whatever you try to do to achieve the next level of success, just don't worry about what people think and where you are. Stuff, start, work your way into it, and the rest is history.
I couldn't agree with you more.
I know. All right. Well, so John, we're coming up to the end of the show here. So
I can't believe that.
Yeah, it's an hour, man. It's quick, and we mumble a lot today. I mumbled pretty much a lot more than
We
you.
never mumble. We always give great information.
Well, I'm just being humble, dude. Oh, that's funny. I'm sorry. I had to I had to do that one. So let's talk. Next steps. I mean, well, next moves. I know you're on the iHealth Radio now. You're broadcasting on Saturdays. You're also doing Tuesdays on the Jersey, New York City FM radio, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So you want to share that with the audiences so they can actually really listen to you live on the radio and content and all that good stuff.
Yeah. And so what I want to tell you guys is that, I've been very fortunate to be on IFYL Drive Time Radio, which, as you know, right now we started small on WGHT AM and FM radio, and WTBQ AM and FM, which we always say it's radio worth listening to. And you can catch me tomorrow, Tuesday, at 93.5. That's on your FM dial in New York, New Jersey, and AM 1110. But, if you're having trouble with that dial, or those buttons don't seem to want to reach those digits, well, don't fret, my friends. Just go to WTBQ.com and click on the red button, Listen Live. We are expanding. We will be in San Bernardino, California very soon. We're reaching 25,000 people. We'll be reaching 5 million people before Thanksgiving.
Woo, that's big.
And we have opportunities for your specific brand. If you feel that you would like to be part of a motivational show, talk to us, because we have some very affordable, as well as some regional and national sponsorship opportunities. And there's no one doing this. So we have a very unique corner on the market, and it's not going to cost you a mortgage to be part of our local show. But we do have our regional show and national show. So there are lots of opportunities, as well as sponsoring our STEM programs, which is a great way to say, hey, John, we support what you're doing, but we want to help the mission that you're putting toward kids and other people of all ages, and getting them to be there and embrace science.
Well, there you have it. We're at the top of the hour, baby. So tomorrow night, 10 o'clock for you. They can listen to you.
In the morning, 10:05 a.m., 10 o'clock, they could tune in and listen to us. And sometimes we even allow call-ins. We give away stuff. Sometimes I take the callers live on the air. Sometimes I just say, hey, call in, and, you can win a gift certificate. So there's lots of great reasons, but the most important thing is tomorrow we're going to talk about how to put your whole face in it. And the show is not for the timid. I tell you the things that you don't want to hear about yourself and others, but you're going to hear them.
All right. Well, so that's it. We'll be back next week, same time, right?
Right here on the same station. But in the meantime, you can catch more of our great content by following the links, as well as be sure to check out my content at believemeachieve.com. And why not improve your skills and maybe add some more, let's say, tools to your own tool belt that you may never know when you're going to need.
That's it. Same thing here. Track the iHealth channel, all the other channels, all our guests. Follow, listen, download, do your thing, learn, use us
And
as a
catch the
tool.
brand new JCM hour, which we just launched on iHealth, Saturdays at 9 p.m. Eastern.
That's it. All right, folks. Have a
Good night, everyone. Have yourself a great Memorial Day. And again, thanks to our fallen heroes. For those that are with us and those that are not with us, I give a humble bit of gratitude from my heart for everything you've done so we can celebrate our freedom today.
Yes, sir. All right, everyone. Bye-bye.
Good night, everyone.